What up, guys? Welcome to Music Blueprint. I think this is episode 15. My name is Gina Fontanella. I'm one of the co-founders of Music Blueprint, and today we are going to go more in depth about songwriting. One of my most watched podcasts is my last songwriting episode that I did. So I figured, you know what? Give the people what they want. And we're just going to break down one of my songs that I've recently written. It's actually one of my favorite songs called Cry for the Both of Us. I wrote it with Thomas Brashali and Mike Robinson. You should look them up. They're amazing, super, super talented people. And one of the things that I really like about this song is it doesn't overwrite. And you'll see what I mean. I'll get more in depth about that. So I'm just gonna play a few seconds of it, and kind of break down all aspects of it, from production to writing to melody, anything that I can really think of. So here we go. Chorus is taking forever to load. Won't be here sitting in the kitchen cooking dinner, folding laundry. If I had $1 for every party you ruined, cause you were mad and never told me, I'd be okay, first of all, there's a few things I want to talk about just in the first few seconds. One, the distortion that Mike put on the guitar. I at the time had been really into distorted guitars, and so I was trying to come up with a really cool guitar rhythm that I liked, but I didn't want to jack it from anybody, so I was just trying to come up with what I thought was cool, and happened to come up with that progression, which now, flash forward, I realized that it kind of was a knockoff of one of Anne Marie's songs, which I don't know if you know what song I'm talking about, but if you don't, then cool. We don't need to mention it. But I just was really into like distorted guitars at the time. I'd written a song called Circles and had this really distorted guitar. And so I told Mike, I said, it needs to be something grungy, and, you know, because then everything around it, because it's a bright progression, everything around it can be brighter. But if you have this like grunginess under it, it has this edge to it. And I love to have some kind of edge to the song. Everything that I write lyrically kind of has a little oomph to it, like a punch. And I always want the production to match that. So anyway, so just right off the bat, he crushes it with a really awesome guitar sound. And then the opening lyric is, "Boy, I'm not your mama." And you're like, wait, what? And I think that that's something really important to talk about too, is when you are writing, you need to have the opening lyric make people say, what? What is she about to say? And I know in this sense we're talking about a pop song, so I know people will be like, well, I would never say, "Boy, I'm not your mama." You know, it doesn't have to be like that. Like, if you're more of a folk artist, and you're more, maybe a little bit more mysterious, say something like, you know, I don't know. I'm not really a folk writer, but, you know, I saw you in the woods next to lilacs, or I don't know. So something that's like, what is going to happen next? And whatever genre you're in, put a line there that doesn't give the goose away. Put something in there that intrigues the ear, that makes the person in their head say, wait, what did they just say? What is that? Nirvana has done a really great job of that. And opening line, you're always like, wait, what? What did he say? And he man, they even do it in the second verse and in the chorus. I mean, oh God, Nirvana's so great. Anyways, so right from the beginning, opening line, boom, you want it to catch him. Moving on to the second part of the song, it goes, "Boy, I'm not your mama, won't be here sitting in the kitchen cooking dinner, folding laundry." And Tom and I went back and forth on this line to get it right because we wanted, it wasn't necessarily the words, although the words were important, it was the bounce of it. What was easy to flow off the tongue? And we went back and forth from like, we said, won't be here cooking in the kitchen, folding laundry. We kept like going back and forth and flipping all the words around to try to find what the best flow was and what just rolled off the tongue. And then it ended up being, won't be here sitting in the kitchen, cooking dinner, folding laundry. And that's how I ended up saying it to kind of, if I'm remembering right, and Tom might blast me if I'm remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure I rapped it out. I was like, what is the flow of it if I just rap it? And spit it really quickly. And then it ended up being the flow of it. It was like, I'm not your mama. I won't be sitting in the kitchen cooking dinner, folding laundry. Hey, if I had, you know what I mean? It just flowed. And a lot of times, I think I've mentioned this the last time, is that lyrics don't always have to be right to be right. And let me explain that further. Sometimes what is the actual lyric is not proper, is not necessarily the right grammar, or, and I don't want to say this because this can get misconstrued, but maybe even the right word you wanted or feeling you wanted to emote, but sometimes when it's sung right, it's just right. And it may be wrong lyrically. It may not line up lyrically what it's supposed to be, thematically. But sometimes when it just rolls off the tongue, that's what it's supposed to be. There's a lot of different arguments of ways that we can go with that. But for this argument, sometimes for a lyric to be right, it doesn't need to be right. Okay, here we go. Continuing on. Rich, with all the commas, dabbing my tears with all my dollars. Boy, I'm not your mama, but let me leave you with a lesson. The structure of this song, I don't know if you've noticed, in the verse, is that we had two lines the same, switched it up in the third line, and then came back to actually the first line, which is the same rhythm and same flow as the first two lines. So it's kind of like a 2, 1 off, and then a 1, or like a, I don't want to say rhyming scheme wise, but in terms of rhythm and melody, it would be like A, A, B, A. But also it came back to the first line. It came back to the boy, I'm not your mama, but let me leave you with a lesson. You know what I'm saying? It came back to that. This is a very, very familiar structure, so much so that people are now trying, at least in my last few sessions, are trying to stray away from that. They're either trying to do melodically and rhythmically an AABB or an AABC. They're trying to flip it up. But this is a very consistent thing to do rhythmically, and I hope that made sense on what I just said. I know that can be a little bit confusing because sometimes we talk lyric wise and rhyming wise in, like, you know, an A, B, whatever pattern, but I'm talking right now specifically about the rhythm and the melody. That rhythm and melody in that verse was the same the first line, the same the second line, switched it the third line, then came back to it the fourth line. So again, I'm just trying to get you to see the different patterns on what's going on. This is obviously specifically for pop music, but this can transcend. I mean, I've heard this across every genre of music. It's a very, very common thing to do. The reason why it's done is because your ear gets tired of hearing that. Your ear gets tired of hearing the boy, I'm not your mama, won't be sitting in the kitchen cooking dinner for laundry. If I had $1 for every party you ruined because you were mad and never told me. You want something else to happen now. The ear is like, if I hear the same thing again, I'm bored and I'm clicking it off. So then we switched it up. I'll be a rich with all my commas, dabbing my tears with all my dollars. You see, you got to flip it up. And then we came back to it. Some people will just continually switch it up and do that twice. And that's for you to decide, and what for, you and the group to decide or whatever. But no, when patterns start being repeated, the ear and the brain gets bored. So you gotta switch it up. You gotta keep the way to really be a successful writer is you gotta kind of keep them on their toes in a intelligent way, because you don't want to be all over the place, because that's why atonal music is annoying. But you want to have them not get bored with what's going on. Okay, now moving on to the pre. That bad boy thing only works in the beginning. What you hide from me only hurts you in the ending. Super short. That bad boy thing only works in the beginning. What you hide from me. It's only 4 bars. And typically a pre can be longer than that. Usually it's about 8. But when you look at the timestamp, it ends at 36 seconds. And I don't know if you've been looking at timestamps of songs recently, but it used to be that a pop song chorus hit at 50 seconds. Anywhere from like 50 to 52 seconds. Somewhere in that range, give or take, a few seconds. Now, songs are like 2.5 minutes long. The chorus is coming within the first like 35 seconds. It's crazy. And this chorus hits at 36 seconds. And that was with an intro. It wasn't even with just the song starting right up. That was with an intro, with a verse. We, boom, just got right into it. So, again, there's songs that switch up the mold, and there are things going on right now. But specifically right now, music is getting to the chorus a lot quicker. And this song gets to the chorus within 35 seconds, basically. So, keep that in mind. Switching it up. Then back. Oh my God. Mike, you did so good. You did so good on the production of this. God. Okay. This course has so many things to dissect. I'm just going to start with the beginning. The beginning goes, don't make me cry for the both of us, right? When Tom spit that melody out in the beginning, the syncopation part of the cry for the both of us, and the repeat of it, crazy. He sang it and I was like, that's it. That's the one. Especially when things can be repeated. I don't know if you've listened to like the top songs recently, but there's a repetition that happens. Drake does it so much and he kills it. And he'll take the same word and flip that word in 3 different ways. It's crazy. And it's what makes it so unbelievably catchy and memorable. So if you can get that element in your song, in your chorus, I'm telling you, that's what gets people to sing it with you. The goal of your writing, especially if you're a touring artist, or if you're not a touring artist, but you want to write for people who tour, the goal is always to, how can I make this song transcend beyond the stage and get people to sing it back to me within the first time of them hearing it? How can I do that? The easiest way to do that is repetition. Finding a way to switch the rhythm but say the same thing, or vice versa. Maybe I'm trying to think of a vice versa of that. I said switch the rhythm but say the same thing. Or say something different and keep the same rhythm. That would be it flipped. There's just, again, I mean, you remember things when you say things multiple times, right? So And in this case too, we brought that back at the end of the chorus. So we said it twice, but literally when you're hearing the song, you don't think, oh, that person said it too much. And a prime example of that is Baby by Justin Bieber. One of his number one, like, top songs he's ever released. It actually, ironically, has the same amount of dislikes as it has likes. At one point, it was like 10 million likes and 10 million dislikes. It was really funny. But the chorus is the same word the whole time. And literally every little girl, and I'm sure if you aren't a little girl, you have sung this at one point, of it just going, baby, 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 oh, baby, 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 switches the oh, baby, 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 back to the first one, oh, I thought you'd always be mine. Everybody knows the lyrics to that song. There is not a person who doesn't know the lyrics to that song. It's simple, it's catchy, it's repetitive. That's the way it goes. And I know some people are probably like, this girl's annoying. She's just giving us a pop model. And it's annoying when people say the same thing over and over. It is annoying when it's not done right. When it's done right, it's not annoying. It's actually just right. Another thing about this song that doesn't make, referring back to the song that I've been playing, is the harmonies in this song keep you intrigued, and it makes you feel like you're not hearing the same thing over and over again. The harmony in this is not your typical harmony. So it's don't make me cry for the both of us, right? You think it would be don't make me cry for the both of us, right? It's not. It's I gotta get back to the original melody. Don't make me cry, don't waste my time, I'm not gonna cry. It's different, it jumps. I can't think of the higher harmony right now, but the harmony is moving even though the melody is stagnant, and it gives you because the melody is stagnant, it gives you the opportunity to have some movement going on. And I remember when I had to track the vocals for this, I was about to karate chop Tom in the throat because he was like, let's sing the 9th, let's sing the 13th, let's sing the 2nd. I'm like, hold on. I'm singing so many harmonies, I can't even hear what I'm supposed to be singing. It was so difficult for me. And I'm a pretty good harmony person. I can get the harmony within a second and nail it or whatever. Even when it's something a little bit different than what I thought originally, I'm pretty good at it. I've been doing it a long time. But this song was so hard harmony-wise because we kept trying to find the right thing. And I think that that's a key point as well. We kept trying as many different things as we could think of. And then we would say, okay, what about this? And we would listen back and be like, no, that one's clashing with this one. Okay, so we pull that one out. And they're like, well, what about this and this? And so we just started playing with I want to say I laid down at least 10 different harmony parts. Different moving ones, static ones, everything. And we just kept playing the different patterns of groups that we could put together that would sound right. It took forever. It took a really long time, but the result was dope. And I'm so glad that I just remained patient because I had about enough. I wasn't going to lie. I was about to be like, I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. I can't even hear the part you're trying to get me to sing. It was just too much. But anyways, going back to the fact of because the melody was stagnant and because it was repetitive, it gave us the opportunity to add something that would keep the ear intrigued, which is moving harmony parts. I think, if I remember correctly, the lower part is going down, and I think the higher harmony part is going up. So they're actually like contrasting each other in direction. And a lot of things played into that, emotionally. We wanted a little bit of a divide and a rub because of what the song talks about. It's like, don't make me cry for the both of us. You know what I mean? It's like, I know you're not in this, but I was in it. So it's like, don't make Don't make me cry for the both of us. And then I think I talked about when it was playing, we switched it up again. We did the same kind of pattern that we did in the first, in the verse of the song. We did, if we're going line by line, there's 4 lines. We did the same thing the first line, same thing the second line, switched it up the third, then went back to it the fourth. The you don't think that I just watch you sing. And lyrically, when Tom and I were talking about that, we had this idea of don't make me cry, and I had this image in my head of like water in an ocean, and so I had this imagery in my head of like somebody crying into the ocean, and it's like if you sink, it's like don't think I'm gonna reach out and reach out a hand for you to pull you out. It's like, no, if you're gonna make me cry, I hope you drown, kind of thing. And so then we when we came up with that melody, it was like, and if you don't sing, then I'll just watch, or whatever the lyrics are. I can't even remember now. If you don't think that I'll just watch you sink, that's what it is. So, and I also progressively sing the song a half step lower and lower. But anyways, and then when we come back to the cry for the both of us, let me play that little ending part again, because I think this is a really cool thing that I learned a few years ago, that I actually intentfully do a lot of the times when I feel like I've said all I've wanted to say. So let me see if I can play it back. So it's coming up right here. Right here. So there was space right there. What you sing, then boy, you're blind now. It's your time to that little thing. To me, the melody, the lead person just goes to, right? We were like, man, we're just missing one beat. Just one beat. What are we missing? Why can't, what's the word that we need? And we couldn't think of it. We could not think of the word. And I actually learned this, and I can't remember her name right now. Oh, it's bugging me. But I learned this from a girl in Seattle. I actually met her at a open mic night in Seattle. And then she happened to be going up to Vancouver the same night that I was going to Vancouver, and I was playing a show up there. So I told her, I said, yo, I love your stuff. She was so freaking talented. Holy crap. And I said, I love your stuff. If you come up to Vancouver, hit me. I'll let you play some songs in my set. You can use my guitar, no big deal, whatever. So she was like, cool. So she ended up coming up and playing 3 songs. So we got to talking. We were just talking about music or whatever. And I said, well, your writing style is so different to mine. Why do you write the way you do? What's your biggest inspiration? I said, the way that you end phrases sometimes are not the way that I would end them, but they are right. And I was trying to figure out like why do you do that? It was just such a different way of writing, but it was so perfect. And she was more folk. I mean, she was not any pop writer or anything, although she had a lot of pop sensibility. But anyways, I was just trying to figure out what was going on. She said, well, I very much learned my writing style from Bob Dylan. And I said, really? What about him? Because to me, my favorite Bob Dylan songs are when Bob Dylan doesn't sing them. He's an amazing songwriter, but I never got into him because vocally I couldn't get into his vocals. And I know some people do, but I just couldn't get into them. But I loved when other people did a song. And she said, well, his writing style is, I figure out what I need to say, and I say it, and I fit the melody around what I need to say, which is a very opposite way of writing. most people figure out the melody and then they fit what they want to say in the melody. And I would say that works 9 times out of 10. 100%. But the times where I've realized I've said what I've needed to say, or I need to say this, but the melody doesn't fit, I modify it. And weirdly enough, that has come up with some of the catchiest little things in a lot of my writing. The little catchy things that you hear, for instance, in this song, I have the two, that little thing. I had realized, Tom and I had both realized, we've said what we needed to say. There's nothing left for us to say. We've said it. So then I told Tom, why don't we just put a cool little, we're already on the 2. That's easy. Just do the 2 down. Then have some harmonies backing it up, almost like some Ariana Grande harmonies going on. And it'll be this catchy little thing. And literally that's one of the catchiest parts of the song is the do. And the harmonies actually, although we do have harmonies that follow it, the do, we have those going down. But we also have in that harmonies going in opposite directions, which, oh my God, I wish you guys could listen to this on like full speakers. It's wild. The harmonies that go on right there is just so wild and it's so catchy. And then because it kind of has this, again, rub to it, you want to go back to something familiar, which then leads you into, don't make me cry for the both of us. And then it ends and you want to go back to that. So another part in this song, though, I know that I've kind of gone into a lot of different things here, and I don't know if it's overload. It just depends on what kind of writer you are. There's a lot of nuggets in there. So I don't want to go too much more into it because I know there is just so many little things that you can start using and putting in your tool belt and using yourself. And I don't want to overload you because when there's too many things, you're like, I can't even try one of these things. So, but the last thing I'll say is that in the bridge of this song, and let me see if I can nail down the right part. Going back to, we had nothing left to say. A bridge is great when you have something left to say. If you don't have something left to say, figure out a different bridge. Do an instrumental. Do a breakdown. Figure something out. But don't be lazy and don't do a bridge because you're like, I don't want to do a bridge. I could just put the pre-chorus in and, whatever. Really think about if you have something left to say. And Tom and I really, really thought about it because Tom at that time was going through a phase of, I don't care what song it is, I'm writing a bridge, period. Because he had found himself, he said, I just kind of found myself kind of getting a little lazy and not writing bridges just because I could put something else in there and I just wanted to be done. So he was in the phase of that time of writing bridges. And we really hashed it out. And I was like, Tom, I don't think it needs a bridge. I think it just needs a breakdown with some sick chords. And so, and that's where we kind of let Mike do his thing. He's, although Tom's a freaking harmony wizard as well, but we let Mike do his thing on the production side. And I think this is it right here. Oh, and we did have a little bit of an instrumental. I will say, I told Mike, I said it needs to have some like 90s synth, like a something that's not cheesy because you're referencing it from the 90s. If in the 90s it was cheesy listening back, but now that you're referring to it today, it's just a throwback sound, So here we go. Here we go. Let me fast forward. And I still think that should be a little grittier, but the melody, here we go. Don't make me cry, don't make me cry, don't waste my time, I'm not gonna cry for the both of us. That walk down is wild. Oh my gosh. I heard that for the first time and I literally lost my mind. That little gospel walk down. Woo, my God. Oh, it's so tastefully done. So tastefully done. And again, you don't get bored. You don't get bored that you're actually just doing the chorus again with just some broke down chords. That is the key. You gotta keep people engaged in any way, shape, or form. If you find your own self getting bored, or when you're watching, watch people around the room. Even in your writing session, watch people around the room and see what their body is doing. Because their body will subconsciously reflect what is actually going on. And if you see that when you guys are listening and you're in the chorus, right? And you're all bobbing, and there's a point where you guys all stop, something's wrong. Period. I know that sounds really simple, but also kind of complicated. Sit down for a second. Don't do any lyrics. Don't do any melody. Have the producer play the track with the reference track. Listen back to it and see what your body does and what everybody else, look around at what everybody else's body does. If somebody's tapping their foot and then all of a sudden at one part their foot stops tapping, why is that? Is there something in your head that you really are like, lyrically that was just me being lazy? Or melodically, it's too repetitive. Or melodically, it's not repetitive enough. What am I wanting to hear there? Take the time and think about it. A lot of times as an early writer, you think the first thing you come up with is the thing that it needs to be. No, it's not. Most of the time, it's actually not. And actually, it's funny. I've been writing with a lot of really young influencers recently, and they are all like that. All of them are like that. Not all of them. I don't want to throw them under the bus. There's some that are actually really good at just sitting back and being like, what does this person come up with? Oh, okay, they're coming up with something different than me or whatever. But a lot of times, and I did this when I was younger, the first thing I came up with, I was like, oh, that's it. It may be it, but also like combat it a bit and ask yourself, is it it? And try to come up with something different. One person taught me, what do you keep coming back to? When you keep trying different things, what do you keep coming back to? And what you keep coming back to, that's it. So I'm going to leave it there because I feel like there's so many little nuggets in there and so many things to talk about. Try to use it in your songwriting. Try doing things, adding repetitive things or repetitive melodies or repetitive lyrics. Try that pattern, first line the same, second line the same, third line different, last line, the same as the first two. Try doing that, or try switching it up. If you're doing that pattern already, try doing something totally different. Mess with the chords, do a breakdown and do a walk down and try different things on the production side. Distort some guitars, create a vibe in your production. There are so many different things that you can maybe try this week in your songwriting that maybe will just inspire something else. Maybe that wasn't your lane and you didn't like it, but it inspired you to do something else. It never hurts to try. Don't be too locked in any way of writing or style or production or anything, because the moment that you become locked into that is the moment that you start going backwards. Everything in music is like an escalator, and if you're not moving up, you're going down. You can't just stay put. You will go down. So try something different, get outside of your comfort zone, and comment below if any of these things worked, but also comment some different strategies that you've tried, and because I would like to try something different as well. So comment your favorite pattern, and I'll try to do it this week. See you guys later.